I've talked to the officers who arrested Ojwang with his parents in Homa Bay, and they told me they drove the guy well, fine, and they handed him over to the police station while he was fine. And that's what, because I personally called the officer in charge of cybercrime. What happened?
So new details and information are emerging from the preliminary investigations into the death of Albert Ojwang. And while appearing on national TV today, former police spokesperson Owino, who is now the head of National Communication Center, has alleged or has said that he personally talked to the police officers who arrested Albert from his parents' home in Nairobi and the head of cybercrime to just trace and get to know what happened between Homa Bay and Nairobi. The police officers have told him that they drove him well while he was on transit or while he was being brought to Nairobi. He was talking to his friends, family members, and they don't know what happened after they handed him over to a central police station. So it's something that is continuing, and let's listen to what he said more from his interview.
The breach of parliament. Charles, this is disturbing, is it, given the inconsistencies in the accounts of police as to what happened to Albert before the admission that he died while he was in custody?
Before we even go to inconsistencies, from my experience, one of the things that police dread most from our early training was escape from police custody and death in police custody. Death in police custody is taken very, very seriously. And no police officer, starting from the officer commanding police station, would allow someone to die in his custody. I remember my first station where I worked, I had a very experienced OCS, the late Clifton Josephat Anami Msoso. You know, we had teams like the flying squad and so on, and you know the experiences those days. One instruction he gave us when we were new was that never admit a person in custody who has been brought by any other service, whether he has been brought by, unless it's somebody from your station. Yeah. Brought by CID, brought by anti-stock theft unit, you don't admit unless you have contacted him. And the first question is you must interview the person and ask him, are you in good condition? Mm-hmm. Have you been tortured? Have you been beaten? And anytime you receive a person in custody, even a person who has been maybe harmed through mob injustice, the first thing you do is to take the person to hospital. And these are standards that had been put in place. So one of the things police dread most is having somebody die in your custody is a serious, serious issue. And one thing that we must understand, that we don't have any other police service. We only have one national police service, and therefore the image of the police is very important. So when such incidences happen, it puts everybody in a very awkward position, starting with the police service itself, because the police have responsibility to inculcate trust into people, because somebody would ask, if I'm not safe in custody, then what happened? Because I've talked to the officers who arrested Ojwang with his parents in Homa Bay, and they told me they drove the guy well, fine, and they handed him over to the police station while he was fine. And that's what, because I personally called the officer in charge of cybercrime. What happened? How did you bring this? I said, no, this guy was in communication even with his family members, even with his friends, until we reached Nairobi. Yeah. And therefore, this puts the police in a very awkward position, especially at this particular time that we even have heightened political tensions and many other issues, because the main question is, people will start wondering. So I think the most important thing is that I believe the IG and most of the DCI will be on top of this investigation so that we can get to know exactly what happened and who is responsible for this. Because if we don't do that and we keep on having situations where police image keeps on going down, then it will be a very big problem. So I think this must be done with a lot of speed, and actual information must come out, and we must know who did it, because we have a lot of theories.
Before I come to the Law Society of Kenya President Emeritus and Waiganjo, so information is key, you said, so allow me to source for information from you. So who are the police officers who arrested Albert? Understandably, the reports were that he was whisked away from Homa Bay County when he was booked at the police station by DCI officers.
Yes.
Yeah. How many police officers were involved?
I am not sure, but I think there must have been 3 or so.
3 or so.
Yes. Maybe including a driver.
Okay.
Yes.
From the National Police Service?
From DCI. Yes. National Police. DCI is under National Police Service.
Their details were never made clear in the statement by the IG yesterday and the previous night when the OCS and the others were interdicted. It's paramount, is it, that it's also made public as to...
There's nothing wrong with making that public.
Yeah.
But I want to believe that as at the time the IG was going for the press briefing, he must have gotten a briefing from both the DCI and the DIG police. They must explain to him what were the circumstances, what really happened. I looked at the body. Yeah. I saw the body on a photo, and I could see blood from his nose.
And there's visible injuries.
And yes, visible injuries. So our question would be, if our colleagues from DCI are saying we brought him fine up to the police station and he was received when he was okay, then what happened in the police custody? Because this person has not been found outside. He was in police custody, and from police custody to the morgue. Yeah. So it must come out clearly what happened